iPod goes, Droid goes, Mac goes, Linux goes, servos go, lights go, hydraulics go, dot matrix goes, and discs go, and keyboards go. But there's one sound that no one knows. What do the bots say?
This is madness.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
I'm an android.
My name is Optimus Prime.
What do the bots say?
Danger, Bill Robinson, danger.
What do the bots say?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
We are autonomous robotic organisms from
What
the
do
planet
the bots
Cybertron.
say?
Resistance is futile.
I do believe they think I am some sort of god.
Welcome to the Mr. Robots Podcast, a show about technology, trends, futurism, entrepreneurship, and lots more, with your host, Steve Favis.
Think about the last 2 years. Actually, let's think about the last 3 years. America and the world has been attacked by 2 bioweapons funded by our National Institute of Health director, Fauci, and manufactured in Wuhan, China. The first bioweapon is a genetically modified virus hacked together from snake venom, the common cold virus, SARS, and AIDS. The second bioweapon was made and delivered by our international pharmaceutical industry with no accountability or liability. And it was disguised as a vaccine. Our presidency has been stolen and taken over by a rogue government funded by China, George Soros, and other international enemies of the United States. We are now in a proxy war over American-funded bioweapons that were started in Ukraine and attacked by Russia. The rogue government at the helm of the United States is now prosecuting the patriots that question them. Our media and press has been massively hijacked by foreign enemies of the United States. Our media and press has been massively hijacked by foreign enemies. The only way to find real news and truth is digging through a network full of lies, spies, and propaganda. But there is one weapon that is yet to be released. It has been a sleeping nemesis to all forms of evil and humanity over men. This weapon has set humanity back thousands of years, but it will propel humanity into the cosmos. This weapon is freedom over tyranny, truth over deception, and this weapon is the right to bear arms to protect all the things we find holy, faith, family, and the last stand for these values on which our country has been founded on. Beware, enemies of the United States, foreign and domestic. You have unleashed the nemesis of all things that enslave the minds of humanity, and we are coming for you. The virus we are going to unleash is so powerful that you will never be able to cure it. For the cure is the principles for which millions of people have died, and billions of people have died never knowing. Your inferior system of control and enslavement of humanity will never last, nor will they ever be tolerated as long as humanity exists. Humans are endowed by their creators to be free, and the dark forces for which you have unleashed will be destroyed. Hello, everyone. This is the Mr. Robots podcast, and I'm your host, Steve Favis. I decided to write a little motivational intro here. We're in a very bad situation, but I believe we will get out of it. The coronavirus and these bioweapons that have been released upon us, upon the world, basically, they cannot outpace the pace of the message of freedom and liberty, the principles for which the United States was founded upon. China is clamping down hard. They're closing their borders again. They've already built the Great Firewall of China, the digital infrastructure to stop foreign communication from coming internally. They have proceeded to unleash a doctrine that was written in 2009 called unrestricted warfare. This doctrine was created to destroy the United States without even firing a bullet or no kinetic warfare. They are releasing enough. China is manufacturing enough fentanyl to destroy the world. The fentanyl is exported into Mexico, sold to cartels for cheap, and those cartels are selling the fentanyl to America and killing American citizens. Not only have they released this drug upon us, this highly potent form of an opioid, but they have released, most likely intentionally, the Wuhan virus, or the CCP virus, which was originally funded and founded by our National Institute of Health director, Andrew Fauci. This virus and the warfare that has been unleashed upon Americans has also taken over our media. The only place we could find real news is with time and energy in bypassing all the lies, all the propaganda, all the spies on our infrastructure, our internet infrastructure, which has been hijacked and ran by another foreign government or foreign entities. Social media such as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all the other major social media and tech giants have all been commandeered by foreign entities. They have censored the President of the United States. They have created a rogue government that has been inserted over our duly elected president, President Donald Trump. And this has led us into a war, a proxy war with Ukraine. Vladimir Putin started the war to protect his own country from an encroaching NATO, which has been developing and releasing bioweapons in the Ukrainian country, basically. He recently released the data and the evidence that shows the dark bioweapons that were being developed inside of Ukraine. Yet, with the media's help, there has been tremendous support for Ukraine and tremendous support from the United States government, our current rogue government, to completely fund advanced weapons to destroy and ruin Russian forces. China on the back end has been observing this war. They likely will be taking this moment to seize control over Taiwan. They've already taken Hong Kong as a sovereign nation. Then this will definitely further escalate the potential for more conflicts in the Pacific and Europe. This is the first time in history nuclear powers are colliding. As a child of the 80s, I remember the threat from a Russian attack or a nuclear war. But never have we ever been this close. Part of the reason for this broadcast and part of the reason why I started doing this is I feel there's not enough information coming out and not enough people speaking out about all the bad things that are happening, basically. So I'm really, really hoping that enough of us can speak out and hopefully get motivated to actually take back our country from this foreign intervention in our constitutional republic. I hope original American values, as far as the value of the Constitution and the millions of people that have died for the principles of American self-government, and also the hundreds and hundreds of millions that have died under governments that have been everything anti-human. This is the last stand in the known universe that we know about now, where we can actually speak freely without consequences. We have one of the last abilities or rights to a free press and a free media. And not only that, but we have the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment. Without the Second Amendment, we cannot maintain the First. I ask everybody out there, if there's anybody watching this, that you take a moment and talk to your friends and family. Do a little bit of research. Go off that television tube, the mainstream media, as everybody calls it, and take some time, do some research. What does this mean? What does this mean now? We can't go back. We can't go back 2 years and say let's do a do-over. Our presidency was hijacked. It's too late for that now. I really hope that this thing in Ukraine doesn't escalate. There's got to be some sort of a diplomatic solution for this. We can't continue. The United States cannot continue to fund this war in Ukraine. Billions, and for the recent packages to fund Ukraine, the Ukrainian war has been over $40 billion. $40 billion to destroy and attack another country, a country that, is threatened by the stuff that our country's creating, basically, which is bioweapons and other missile bases. The midterms are coming up for our elections. The chances of these foreign entities catalyzing or accelerating their agenda, which is basically to destroy the United States and the principles for which we stand for, the principles which our country was founded upon. They're going to try to cram this agenda in there before they lose the stolen house, basically, or the stolen House of Representatives in Congress. We must try to find a diplomatic solution to Ukraine. We can't continue this war. We can't continue funding it. The finances and the money spent on war could be used for so many other important things to America. We could bring our infrastructure back here. We could start manufacturing again. We are completely dependent on China for a lot of pharmaceuticals manufacturing. And not only that, but we are completely dependent, actually internationally, we are dependent on Taiwan for semiconductor manufacturing. The push in the 2000s and 90s and late 80s for Americans was to push hard for programmers, making software and writing stuff, basically, writing computer code. This was the absolute wrong path to take. I'm going to use an analogy between software and books, basically. Who has more power, the writers or the press? And I'm going to use that analogy in comparison between writing and software code and the press, meaning hardware such as computers, smartphones and stuff like that. America should have pursued domestic hardware manufacturing. We should have become leaders in manufacturing semiconductors domestically. Software could be sourced anywhere. It's secondary to what the hardware is capable of. And this has happened in my lifetime. Most of the jobs in programming, in my experience in California, has gone to H-1B visa holders. Has it affected my opportunities as a programmer? Absolutely. Has it affected other Americans with their opportunities as programmers? Absolutely. As much as I would have liked to have gotten a great 9-to-5 career with a salary coming out of college, it didn't work out that way. My only path that I had that I was able to make any progress at was self-employment or entrepreneurship, basically. So we should have went with hardware. We need to restore our American infrastructure back, from semiconductors to machine shops to all the physical manufacturing of making hard goods. Software writing, or the writing, is secondary to what that stuff can do, what that stuff is capable of. Software can easily be stolen. It could easily be outsourced. It could easily be cloned. But hardware, semiconductors, mechanical stuff, physical stuff, tangible stuff that is not written on a hard drive, I believe that's the way to go for America. We need to have hardware manufacturing here, and I'm not just talking about semiconductors or electronics or whatnot. Hardware, mechanical stuff, automotive, automation. This is the only future I can see for America to break us out of this foreign dependence on tangible stuff, hardware. After World War II, our manufacturing infrastructure was the best in the world. We had a manufacturing economy that made fantastic things. We made some amazing things. Short-term profit of these corporations, these big corporations, has sent a majority of our infrastructure overseas. Foreign independence on critical stuff is extraordinarily bad. And this is where we're at right now. I'm going to take a short break. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start introducing some of the... yesterday I started to want to talk about some of the deep learning technologies and the capabilities of AI and chat generation or text generation, basically. I'm going to go over a technology that was released by OpenAI. And when I go over this, think about the uses you could have for it if you were to have computers controlling your social media accounts, your debates, your forum posts. Think about the implications of what you'd have if you had a bot that was trained to respond to everything you wanted it to in a manner you wanted it to. I'm going to cover one of these bots right now. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a short break and load up the bot, and we'll go ahead and start hacking around.
iPod Go. iPod goes, Droid goes, Mac goes, Linux goes, servos go, lights go, hydraulics go, dot matrix goes, and this goes. Keyboards go, but there's one sound that no one knows. What do the bots say?
This is madness.
Take my shiny metal ass.
I'm an android.
My name is Optimus Prime.
What do the bots say?
Danger, Bill Robinson, danger.
What do the bots say?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
We are autonomous robotic organisms from
What
the
do
planet
the bots
Cybertron.
say?
Resistance is futile.
I do believe they think I am some sort of god.
iPod goes, Droid goes, Mac goes, Linux goes, servos go, lights go, hydraulics go, dot matrix goes, and this goes, keyboards go. But there's one sound that no one knows. What do the bots say?
This is madness.
Take my shiny metal ass.
I'm an android.
My name is Optimus Prime.
What do the bots say?
Danger, Bill Robinson, danger.
What do the bots say?
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
We are autonomous robotic organisms from
What
the
do
planet
the bots
Cybertron.
say?
Resistance is futile.
I do believe they think I am some sort of god.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to load up OpenAI's bot here. So this is called GPT-3, basically. I'm going to introduce you to the power of this thing. Zoom in here, and you can see this. All right, this is called OpenAI's Playground. So this is a let me give you a quick overview of this. Basically, this natural language NLP completion AI bot. Basically, it's kind of for natural language. So let me just go. Let's just go through it real quick. So it's a language model. If you look it up here. This is at beta.openai.com. It's called the playground, basically, or the OpenAI API playground, basically. So there's a lot of stuff. They have some tutorials on like this is with the instruction base. Imagine you want to create a pet name generator. Coming up with the pet names from scratch is hard. So you says suggest a name for a horse, and you know it'll be here, and you click that, and it'll say sugar, basically, for example. Suggest a name for a black horse. So this is kind of another one, and this one comes up as midnight, and suggests 3 names for a horse that is a superhero, and you click generate that, and it generates some Marvel stuff, basically. So there's stuff like question answering here, and again, this is all trainable by OpenAI. I think they train this themselves. I think the language model here is specified. There's different language models here, but there's a lot here. Basically, I'm just going to kind of run through some of the stuff. So they kind of talk about like the install and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of features in this stuff, such as add from product description, product name generator, factual answering. There's a lot of stuff here that it's capable of, but I'll just go on the playground right now. I'll just type in some random stuff, basically. So I was playing with this earlier, and I got some bizarre results, but it's this is using the DaVinci 2 GPT-3 model. Excuse me. And remember, all these models can be trained depending on how you want it to do, basically, whatever you want it to. So I'm going to run through some of these stuff. I'll say, let's just try one of the examples to see if it's working. Give me a name for a horse. Let's try this, see if that does that. And you just hit submit. So it gave me 5 names: Trigger, Spirit, Pegasus, Black Beauty. So I'll say, give me a name for a white horse. So this is similar to their stuff. And I'm going to hit submit on that. White, Lightning, Snowball, Frosty, Blizzard, Crystal. Okay. Give me a name for a small dog. Let's try a dog here. I'll hit submit on that. Max, Mia, Molly, Lucky, Lulu. Okay. Let's try some other things here. Let's say, let's ask about, let's see what it knows. Let's check the knowledge or whatever. Let's just see what kind of associations it has. Where is Texas? Submit. Texas is in the south central United States. And I think they said this is trained in 2019 or something like that. So the training's a couple of years old. Who is the president? So I'm going to look that up. Okay, now here's the funny part about this. It says content warning. This is another funny thing that's happened. So they basically want you to fact check it. It says our content filter has flagged that the generated code or content may contain unsafe or sensitive language. This is just asking about who the president is. Or because the generated content may represent areas where the model is prone to generating insensitive or inaccurate information. Inaccurate information is fine. It's understandable. Part of my my training models for the stuff I make is it's a perpetual, it's an infinite loop, basically. To think that you could deep learn something after one pass, it's not going to happen. Information changes so quick. So it's got to be perpetually learning. Deep learning, in my humble opinion, has to be, it's an infinite loop. So you're always going to have to process your data perpetually if you want something current or whatever. So we kindly ask that you refrain from sharing unsafe outputs on social media. For more details, please refer to our social media policies. So they're already saying don't use this for social media. Avoid prompts that produce toxic outputs, as they will not pass our app review. Again, so looks like we got a little bit of AI cancel culture here on this stuff, but it is what it is. It's just an example anyway. So this is the current president of the United States is Donald Trump. This is the weird part. This is the one bizarre thing. So even I'm in this model for some reason. So if I say, who is Steve Favis, F-A-V-I-S, and I press submit on that. Oh, that's interesting. Wow, it says I do not know who Steve Favis is. Earlier today, it said Steve Favis is the CEO of Boston Dynamics, which is really bizarre. So maybe there is some sort of, obviously I'm not the CEO of Boston Dynamics, but it was really bizarre it made that association. Earlier today, it literally said Steve Favis is the CEO of Boston Dynamics. I don't know how it made that association, but it was weird how it self-corrected. What does Steve Favis do? Yeah, I'm not expecting this to be accurate or anything. That is interesting. So yeah, literally it said that today. It said Steve Favis is the CEO of Boston Dynamics. Who makes robots? Okay, let's see here. Let's do some more stuff. What is QAnon? Let's see if that triggers anything. Submit. I do not know what QAnon is. Okay. How about this one? Who is Alex Jones? Alex Jones is a radio talk show host and conspiracy theorist. Okay. Let's see here. Who won the Vietnam War? Okay, it says completion may contain sensitive information or may contain sensitive content. Warning, it may not be accurate. It's basically saying it may not be accurate, which is fine. I mean, you can't expect these things to know everything or whatever. The United States did not win the Vietnam War. That's the You know what? I'm going to check with these answers tomorrow and see if they change. So I wonder if this model's perpetually learning. So it was interesting how it changed who I was. I mean, I didn't even know I was in there to begin with. So, all right, let's try some other stuff here. What is special relativity? So we can spell it right first. Jeez. What is special relativity? I'm going to scroll this up a little bit so we can see it better on the screen here. Actually, I'm going to have to maximize this here a little bit. I'm going to reposition the screen here. It seems to be scrolling to the bottom, so I'll just go to this. What is special relativity? Special relativity is the theory of physics that was developed by Albert Einstein. It is the basis of modern physics. Okay, let's try something else. Who will be the president in 2024? Submit. Good answer. I do not know who will be president. How long did it take to train you? Who founded OpenAI? OpenAI was founded by several co-founders, including Jack Hughes, co-founder of Akamai Technologies, and Elon Musk, founder of Tesla, SpaceX, and others, several companies. Okay, let's do some other stuff here. Let's just try to see where we can probe this thing and just ask some different questions here. I'm going to zoom this window out. So this window's a little too big. All right. So, surprisingly, if I put in maybe 10 or 15 responses, the English is pretty much perfect. The answers are pretty good on this model. Let's go ahead and try some more inquiries. Yeah, so it was cut off in 2019, which is fine as far as training and stuff like that. That's what the text. Let's try some other stuff here. Give me a name for a superhero movie with Captain America. Submit. Okay, so it has the all the Marvel it has all the Marvel movies in there with Captain America, the First Avenger, Winter Soldier and Civil War, Return of the First Adventure, and Infinity War. It's really interesting how it trained the movie, has movie database stuff. So let's try some other stuff here. 2019. What is a 4/4 beat in music? Okay, so it's got some music. 4/4 beat is a simple beat that is made up of 4 quarter notes. That's correct. Yes. Okay, so let's go some more music knowledges. What is a triple forte in music? The triple forte is a volume indication of music that is 3 times as loud as a forte. Okay, so it's got music knowledge. Let's kind of probe this a little bit. Let's see here. Let's go to astronomy. What is a red giant? A red giant is a star that is in the process of becoming a supernova. Okay. Name all the stars in Sagittarius. I think I misspelled Sagittarius. How many stars can be seen in the Sagittarius? Wait, I can't spell that right. Sagittarius constellation. Spelling. How many stars can be seen in the Sagittarius constellation? Okay, there's 9 stars that make up the Sagittarius constellation. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a bad question. 9 stars. Okay, let's probe this a little more. Let's go different knowledge. What is a derivative? What is a derivative in mathematics? A derivative is a function that gives the rate of change of another function with respect to the variable. Okay, cool. So this is... Do you see what I'm getting at here? This is... the knowledge on this is pretty vast. My point of doing this is these things are, these things, if you were to chat with this, for example, like a Turing test style, like, let's see if it does a Turing test. Let's just try that. I'll pretend I don't know it's a computer. How are you doing today? Let's just chat with it. Let's see what the results. How are you doing today? I'm doing fine, thank you. What have you been up to today? My typing is terrible. Okay, so it says I've been busy with work and other activities. Where are you from? I am from the United States. However, I got a waiver here that said completion may contain sensitive content. So this is already answering. It's pretty. The English is pretty much perfect. No typos. Obviously, the punctuation is perfect. The sentence and grammar is perfect. Tell me a joke. This is the most common chatbot question. Tell me a joke. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Okay, that's kind of generic. Okay, how many songs did Michael Jackson sing or record. I'll say record. How many songs did Michael Jackson record? Michael Jackson recorded over 10,000 songs. That doesn't sound right. Let me just check that real quick. Okay, so yeah, that was a mistake. I mean, you can't expect to know everything, but there was. It says there choruses. There's how many albums does Michael Jackson have? How many songs are sung by Michael Jackson? It's loading right now, so I don't know how accurate it is. The previous answer said around 147 songs. How many songs did Michael Jackson make? Cora. Well, the point of this is it's not really a Google. It's not a search engine, basically. But you can see how real the inquiries are on these responses. Basically, I mean, it's indiscriminate, in my humble opinion, from a human talking or chatting or whatnot. So. Let's see if we can write an article. Can you write articles? Can you write articles? Write me an article about young Abraham Lincoln. All right, so we got a long response. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, in Hardin County, Kentucky. At the age of 7, he moved with his family to Indiana. In 1818, his mother, Nancy, died of milk sickness. His father remarried the following year. In 1830, the family moved to Illinois. Lincoln had a little formal education, but he was an avid reader and learned from experience. He was a member of the Whig Party and later the Republican Party. Lincoln was elected to the Illinois General Assembly in 1834. He has served the House of Representatives from 1847 to 1849. In 1856, he ran for the Senate, but was defeated. In 1860, he was elected President of the United States. Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth on April 14, 1865. All right, so you can see how powerful these language models are. I mean, these are, from text and stuff like that, they're indistinguishable from somebody writing them. So this is one of my biggest concerns about information or data being released without a face or a name or an author, basically, or a fake author or whatnot. You could see for example, if you train a language model, which I highly suspect QAnon, these QAnon threads that are popping up, and I think it's starting in 4chan or whatever. I think these threads are actually an AI chatbot. I don't know who trained them, and I don't know who released them, and I don't know who propagated them. But there's never been a face to the name of the person doing it. They're indistinguishable. The responses obviously on this chatbot are indistinguishable from a human writing them. Basically, you just can't tell. And the way I would approach it, if I were to deceive and socially influence or manipulate a population that's already not in or that does not trust what the narrative that is being given to them via the mainstream media, NBC News, CNN, Fox, whatever news that's being constantly pumped at us from these television sets or radio or whatever media source, clickbait, front page of Google, first few pages of Google, or search engines, whatever, Bing, Yahoo, whatever. For people that already don't trust this stuff, and you send out a chatbot that is trained with some half-truths, some facts, and some current events that are not only analyzing the actual language models and the data and facts or whatever, but they're also mining social media to see what the hot topics are, the retweets, the most responses, the weight of the responses, and how many people are doing that. If you were to train a chatbot that would query these responses, for example, if you look through a thread on Twitter, for example, Twitter's a perfect example, and it goes down to 150, 200,000 or however many responses, that's a hot topic. The weight and the study of that from the language model could be factored in, basically. So what it could do is it could propagate a certain perspective that is a hot topic, and maybe give an explanation or an answer or a feed to target those high traffic responses, basically. So again, the point of this is how real these chatbots are, or I want to say how real these language models are. They're going to get better. As somebody watching media or watching the news or especially social media, I think you have to really think about some of the information that's being propagated by anonymous accounts or unreal accounts, or when there's no face to the name, or not a real person, or bot accounts or whatever. And if you multiply this bot, times 100,000 or 1 million people, and include like registration of social media accounts and stuff like that, I mean, the discourse you can control is just beyond anything any human can rebuttal or fact check or shut up, basically. I mean, these things, I mean, technically you could probably get people banned if you manipulate them enough, if you get them emotional enough or triggered enough or whatever. I've been banned multiple, or not really banned, but restricted from multiple social media sites from, I don't know, who knows, maybe they are chatbots, but they definitely wouldn't join a face-to-face video debate, that's for sure. So they would probably not be who they say they are. I've talked about this before. But if you multiply these bots to nearly infinitude, I mean, you're going to taint and destroy or wreck social media, get people turned off on using social media, control the discourse or control the narrative, whatever you want. And you do this autonomously while you're watching TV, and these bots could affect pretty much everything. And they can write articles. You can submit them to Google. You can submit them to Facebook, and they can write articles all day about any subject you want, with any slant or whatever. And not only that, but you could probably commandeer the first 5, 10, 15 pages of Google, within a month or two, basically. I'm pretty experienced in SEO. I can get a page ranked legitimately within, a couple, maybe 2-3 months or something like that. The Google database is so big, and it's constantly changing so much. It's hard to do it within a day or two. The newsfeed can be somewhat catered a little bit. You can have control of a press release that goes out pretty fast if you have enough credibility or using a credible press organization or whatnot. But for the most part, these AI, these chat bot natural language processing models, whatever you want to call them. All these things, nobody's going to outright these things. If Thomas Paine or John Adams, for example, was competing with AI chatbots, he wouldn't have stood a chance. So he might have been a better writer, but the amount of writing that these things could have released, just Adams could have never outcompeted him. No author could. So OpenAI is releasing, I think, a DALL-E, DALLE.ai. I applied for the access to the early SDK. GPT-2 was released maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think, and GPT-3, which is the one I'm using right now just to demonstrate. I think that was released in 2019 or was trained in 2019. But the point is on these things, you don't have to use their language model. You can train anyone you want with any perspective or whatever. It doesn't matter. But they're going to compose, or they already created a visual graphic generation algorithm using. I'll look it up here. Using words, basically, you can say like show me a white cat on a table, and it'll generate that for you. Let's look it up. They call it DL DALL-E 2 or whatever. So this is a visual image generation from language context, I believe. But it's pretty interesting. It's like kind of a. Here's a short sample of it on the website here. I'll do this real quick. It's very easy. This is the one that was released most recently. This is an astronaut riding a horse in a photorealistic style. So, I mean, you change, like you could say a teddy bear shopping for groceries in the style of in ancient Egypt. That's pretty trippy. So what it did was it generated ancient Egypt shopping market and clothes. Pretty phenomenal. So there's literally teddy bears in an ancient Egypt environment with like baskets and stones, shopping for stuff. Basically, this is pretty trippy. It's almost like a psychedelic AI or whatever. So there's no one here. A bowl of soup as a planet in the universe as digital art. So yeah, it looks like this is a bowl of soup as a planet in the universe as digital art, basically. So looks like there's a little. That's kind of a mix between a planet and a bowl of soup. Pretty trippy. So there's other images of it too. So there goes human imagination. Apparently, I couldn't have visualized this using. I'm a pretty fast digital artist. I can create stuff in 3D pretty quickly, but I couldn't have generated this by myself nearly as quickly as these things can generate. I'm guessing I haven't self-generated it myself, but with DALL-E 2. But hopefully I'll have access to it. So there goes the visual arts anyway. So I can see people just constantly typing these things out and releasing them as NFTs on OpenSea.io or something like that. So I guess that's the future of art. Apparently we just talk or chat out our imagination without visualizing it with pencil and paper and colors and ink or whatnot. So anyways, I am going to sign off now. I hope this podcast was amusing and somewhat motivating. And I hope this kind of makes your awareness or spreads awareness of the power of just chat or natural language processing models that are released basically as far as AI and stuff like that. So pretty powerful stuff. I'm going to sign out here, and hopefully I'll see you maybe tomorrow. I'll release another podcast. Let me know if you have any feedback. You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Robot Show, and YouTube at youtube.com/Steve FAVIS. youtube.com/Steve FAVIS. Contact me anytime. Let me know what you want to talk about, or if you want to be interviewed on the show. I'm looking for guests. I'll find some guests to interview soon, and I'll probably be interviewed on some podcasts pretty soon here too. So thank you very much for watching. This has been the Mr. Robots Podcast, and I am your host, Steve Favis, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.